Hey there, planners. I've recently started thinking about migration, moving from this planner to my next planner, and I wanted to share with you how I'm going to approach this and what are those earliest steps that I start to take when it's time to start thinking about moving into a new planner. So go grab your planners and let's get planning. While I can't quite wrap my mind around how it is already almost the middle of 2024, I do understand that it's almost time for me to set up a new planner. As we approach the middle of the year, I would like to move into a new planner that will carry me through the end of the year, or at least several months into the rest of the year. And I've started thinking about how I want to approach moving out of this planner and into a new planner. I'm going to share with you just kind of chit chat about what my thoughts are and get your insights as well. Are you thinking about moving into a new planner? What are some of the key ways that you migrate from one planner to the other? I'd love to talk through that. So before I dive right in, I do want to say welcome to those of you who are new to Planning Annie. Here on this channel, we are planner enthusiasts. We love our planner systems. We love getting things done. We love prioritizing the things that are most important in our lives and focusing in those areas. We also love being creative, journaling, enjoying all the supplies and stationery. So if that sounds like something you enjoy as well, we do hope you'll consider subscribing and becoming a permanent part of our community. For those of you who are returning, I'm so glad you're here. I hope all of you will jump down in the comments and give me your ideas as we go through the video. I would love to incorporate some of your ideas into my migration process. So, of course, because I'm a planner, I have set up a migration page. As you can see, I'm a little over halfway through this journal. I've still got a lot of pages left, and I think I could probably get several more months in here, but I also kind of just want a fresh start for the middle of the year. I still have well over a month before we're at the midway point of the year, so I've got time, and this to me is the right time to start thinking about how I want to approach going into a new planner, because there are some things I want to take, some things I want to change, some things I want to keep. And so, of course, I set up a spread for moving into my next planner to start to capture some of my ideas. So the first step I took before I even started writing anything on this page is I just flipped through this planner. I just went page by page and flipped through the planner and asked myself, what's working, what's not, what's missing, what do I wish was in a different place in the planner or was not here at all, or what do I wish I had set up initially versus as I went through the planner, just kind of thinking through all of that. And as I was identifying those things in the flip through, I started to write them down. So I started with a list of, here's what I want to make sure I have in each monthly setup. Because there are certain things that I have found just through trial and error are really working for me and certain things that are not. And so I made a list. Here's all the things that I want to include in my monthly setups. I also came up with the idea of, hey, I'd kind of like to try this whole dashboard concept, because if I go back to some of the other planners that I've used in the past, one of my favorite aspects of using an Erin Condren planner is that dashboard page. And it's got sort of like a welcome to the month. It's got notes on one side, and then it's got little boxes that you can use for different things on the other side. I really liked that, and in the past I found that very handy and used it for specific things. I wanted to include that. That led me to come over here and say, okay, what do I want to use that dashboard page for? Do I actually need it, or is it just something I'm thinking about adding and I'm not going to end up using? So I came up with some ideas of what I would actually like to use that dashboard page for and just wrote those down here as well. And then I went into listing out what are the other things, reference type items that I would like to have in my planner. I'm finding more and more that I'm wanting to just have this one notebook. Whereas in the past, I have sort of divided things up between like a wallet planner and an on-the-go planner and a stay-at-home planner and all, all of that, a memory keeping planner, all of that. I'm kind of just wanting everything in one notebook. And I go through different phases of this, one extreme to the other. And right now I'm on the side of wanting everything in a single notebook that I can just carry with me. So that means having a lot of reference spreads and lists, and I went ahead and listed all of those out. And then I started to number them. Okay, now I've got my list of things. What order would I want these things in? So I started to list out the order of how I would want them laid out. And this is really thinking about setting up that next planner. What would I want to include? So I've got my list of things I want to include. I've started to think about the order. Some of the things that I want to include, I need to break down a bit more. So for example, I know I want to have a symptom tracker because I want to be able to closely monitor what symptoms I am experiencing, whether that's allergy symptoms or, some other sickness or some other symptoms. It's just something I'm wanting to track right now. Well, I wanted to go ahead and break down what symptoms do I want to track? So I had to do some research on that, like looking at some other examples of symptom trackers and getting ideas. What do I want to track? What's going to be important for me? So I went ahead and made a little list of all the things I want to track over here so that when I go to set up my next planner, I've got all that information right here ready to go. Same thing with my life admin task spread. So I've got a tracker in here currently with life admin task, but I wanted to make some changes to how I'm using that and wanted to make sure I've got the right things listed in there. So I went ahead and made some updates here about how I want to use that. One idea that I would say was helpful to me is I absolutely flipped through my current planner and looked at how I was using things here. I also went back to a couple of previous planners. So I went all the way back to last summer and looked at Erin Condren planners that I was using last summer to see what was really helpful to me in the same season that I'm in now last year. I went back a couple years and looked at previous bullet journals, pulling ideas from there. So that can be a really helpful way to gather information as well. Another thing that I have captured on here is just like a consider list. So I know some things I absolutely must have. There are also some things that I want to consider adding, and this will be sort of a call during the moment of setting up whether I include these or not, or maybe they go on a list in the new planner to consider there for the future, but these are just some things that I might want to add to the new planner. I also started to capture some theme ideas, how would I want to, what themes would I want to use to set up the new planner. And then the final step for me was to create a to-do list for the mid-year setup. And you can see I've just started here. I started breaking down like how many pages are going to be used for each month and how many extra pages, how many notes pages, stuff like that, just to make sure the next notebook that I purchase is going to be enough. I would really love to get the full second half of the year in a single notebook. So I just kind of wanted to make sure I understood how many pages I needed based on my plan for what goes in the monthly and all the other spreads and stuff like that. And then I will continue to list out here things that I need to do to be prepared for moving into a new planner. This is where I would love your ideas. What other things should I be considering as I think about moving into a new bullet journal and setting up a new bullet journal? What do you consider and think about as you are getting ready to move into a new planner? Are you moving into a new planner? What are you doing to prepare for that? I would love to hear all of that down in the comments below. If you enjoyed the video, give me a thumbs up. Subscribe to Planning Annie for more content like this. Stay tuned for the actual migration into the new planner. And as always, thanks for planning with me.